I'm not paying off my credit card debt today, but I do want to see if I'm able to afford groceries. Let me see my available to spend, which
I have so many questions. First off, how are you over $80,000 in debt with American Express? Because I know they run a strict program and I know they don't play. Like,
So I just found out I'm $348,043 in debt. Now I don't even know how this happened, but I probably have the world record for the most debt at 20 years old. So here's what I found out. So I spent 84,000 of that on my college tuition, and I take that as an investment because I'll make that money once I get my degree. I also found out I spent 109,000 on a brand new car. Now I'm a strong believer that sometimes you need to enjoy your life and get the things that you deserve, but I low-key crashed it the first week.
You spent what?
And then for the rest, I spent $155,003 on DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Ain't no
Now, this
way.
is another investment because you can't survive if you don't eat, but I think I might have taken it too far, and I think I gotta take my finances more seriously. So I'm gonna start paying off my debt and earning XP on KiwiPop. And I'm gonna keep all my credit cards in one place so I restrict myself from spending. It's time to turn my life around, so follow me to see me pay off my debt, and comment how long you think it'll take to pay it off. So I just
Did this dude just say he spent 150 grand, 150 grand on DoorDash and Uber Eats? So he's not like getting fast food. He's getting, he's like ordering in fancy restaurant food to his house. That's the only way you could get that type of debt just off of DoorDash and Uber Eats. Not to mention he has a over 110 he has $110,000 car. What type of car do you have? I'm curious. I want to see if he has it on his. You better have it on your profile. You got $110,000 vehicle. He doesn't even have a lot of followers. Man, ain't no way. So I can't really see his vehicle, but I can see him in his vehicle in this video. And this doesn't
I
look
just
like
racked up
$110,000.
$7,000 of credit card debt in the last 2 months. Now I currently have a perfect credit score and I'd like to keep it that way. Now over the last week I spent
Does he have multiple cars, you think? Because this definitely doesn't cost 110. Who knows? Y'all, before we get into the next clips, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
I have probably the most credit card debt out of anybody else on this app, and it is because I am addicted to spending money. It does not matter if I have the money or not, I'm going to spend it. As soon as it hits my bank account, it's gone. As soon as it hits my savings account, it's gone. As soon as I have money available on a credit card, it's gone. I spend and I spend and I spend and I spend and I spend, and I go to the store and I'm like, oh, I need that. Oh, I need that. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want that. Oh, my kids want that. Oh, my kids need this. And it's just, my mind spirals out of control until the damage has just been done, and it's just led to a lot of problems in my life. And so I have a total of $80,000 in credit card debt because of this. I was recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder, so it kind of all makes sense now. But it is something that I am struggling with, and I'm sharing my struggles on the internet. I'm sharing my struggles, I'm sharing my wins, I'm sharing my hard days, I'm sharing my good days. So if that's something that you're interested in following along with, then make sure you hit the follow button, because I am working hard to pay this debt off, but I'm working hard on my mental health first.
She mentioned, she said she has an addiction for spending money. Ain't that the truth? Don't we all have that? However, how are you gonna keep spending money you don't got? And here's the thing, like she said, she's spending money on herself, her kids, and all that type of stuff. What I'm curious to know is, do you have a man? Because I don't know if a man's just gonna sit here and just let you keep spending all that money when he's also going to be held accountable to it as well. And here's what I really want to know. So she said she has 80K, because 80K, we hear large student loan amounts all the time, so we kind of get desensitized to some of these numbers. But when you're talking about 80K consumer debt, because you got to really go off percentages. Here's what I mean. I mean, a student loan, it might be 7, 10%, 5%. When we're talking about credit cards, now you're in the 20s, low 30s. So what I'll be curious to know, how much does 80K consumer debt compound yearly on average for credit cards if you pay minimum balance? Because you got to really be factoring in the growth. And the idea is to be able to get ahead of this. But I feel like if we're talking about 80K on a credit card, you can kind of extrapolate that to equate to like a $250,000 student loan. So if you're only paying a minimum balance on an 80K credit card in 2026, you aren't paying off a loan. You're funding a bank's record-breaking Q2 profits. So it's really just modern degeneracy, y'all. If you're not allowing yourself to not be in debt. And it says the average APR right now for credit cards is, like I said, 24.5%. So if you have 80K in debt and you only pay the minimum balance, which is usually what people do, if they even pay that, usually interest plus 1% of the principal, here's what that compound is interest, which is really just a trap, is going to look like for you. And we can just go off the next over 3 years, right? So if you go off 3 years, just trying to understand what that interest would be, because I want to start showing numbers. I want to start getting real practical so people really know what they're getting into. So year one, if you're only paying the minimum payments, what you're looking at, your starting balance was 80K. The interest that you would have accrued over year one is going to be about 20,000, 19,600 off a 24.5% interest rate. So by the end of the year, that 80K is going to be still going to be $78,400. By year two, and keep in mind, you done paid $19,600. By year two, your starting balance $78,400. You're going to pay another $19,200 that year. And then by the end of the year, your balance is still going to be $76,832. You done paid 40 grand at this point, and your real ending balance only went down $3,200. Year three, you're still at $76,800. You're going to pay $18,800 in interest, and your ending balance in year three is still going to be $75,000. So 3 years, your ending balance has only gone down $5,000, but in 3 years, you've paid $60,000 on $80,000 that you had to begin with. Do y'all see? Do you see how the math is working now? Because it's not in your favor. And now it justifies why you just gave the bank a record-breaking Q2. Let's get back into it.
So Amex, $21,138.94. Well, that's crazy. What's even crazier? The minimum monthly payment is $717.55. Yeah, $717.55 minimum monthly payment. Okay, what's going on here? You made a minimum monthly payment. Then you purchased $1,533. That's crazy. That's an insane number. You know why that's actually insane? Because here's your credit limit now, because they lowered your credit limit because you don't know how to manage this. Would you like to join me in this conversation?
I don't know what was the purchase?
Oh,
dollars for what?
You don't even know what you purchased, buddy. That's purchases that you had.
Oh, purchases.
Yes.
I mean, it was probably just getting food and.
So, they lowered your credit limit because you can't manage this. The minimum monthly payment is absolutely insane for your income situation. What is it? Okay, $4,500, and the minimum monthly payment is $717. $717 divided by $4,500. 16% of your income goes to just one minimum monthly payment on one credit card, on one of your debts out of the many debts you have. Okay, so we decided to go purchase on it, bullshit food, which is what you're saying. We didn't even go through the purchases, but you're saying it's probably just me going and getting food nonchalant. This is nothing. It's nothing. It doesn't matter. You think that's okay? You think that's acceptable? It's charging $511.28 in interest. That's okay?
No.
Then why the are you doing it?
I don't know. I'm just trying to, because I don't have money on my other cards. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed
Not go out to eat. What are you talking about? If you do not have money, you do not go to Mickey D's. I don't know where you went, but we'll look at that in a second. Does that not make sense? How does that not make sense?
I mean, it does, but I just.
But what?
I don't know. I don't like to just sit in home, do nothing. It's just super hard for me. I don't know.
Go to a park.
Right.
Both of us could use a few more miles of walking a day.
Yeah, I go out and do things, but
there you go. Mission solved. Problem solved. Mission accomplished.
You know what's crazy? He said just off one of those cards, just one of the credit cards, it's literally 16% of his income already. The government also gets a percentage, and depending on what state he lives in, they get a percentage of your income as well. I can't even imagine if you got other cards that are taking percentages as well. Let's just say all your cards together is 30% of your income coming out. Congratulations. You're paying child support to the bank while still getting taxed at, let's just say, 20%. So when it's all said and done, you only have about 50% of your income to live off of. And then that's not even taking away any living expenses, like the main ones: rent, car payment, car insurance. And he's just digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And they'll let you just F up your life. Did you know that? They'll let you just continue to F up your life while they continue to profit off your slavery. Because that's what you're ultimately becoming. You're becoming a financial debt slave. And ultimately, for lack of better words, a peasant. And you don't even know it. You're not even living like a peasant, but like you're just digging the hole deeper and deeper and just becoming more and more of a peasant. And I use the word peasant strategically because back in old times, the way that the structure was either you're in the royal class or you're in the peasant class. And there was really nothing that you could do to change it. There was nothing you could do to change it. And I would argue if he continues to let his debt spiral out of control, then there's nothing he's going to be able to do eventually to really change it. He's going to have to do something big, right? He's going to have to hit the lottery if he continues to allow it to spiral out of control. And that's how a lot of people are living, whether it's with student loans, whether it's with consumer debt. And so what it really just comes down to is, as we saw in this clip, what it came down to was visibility, having a bird's eye view over your finances so that now you can strategically plan and evaluate how you need to solve that problem moving forward. But what a lot of people like to do is they like to just pretend like it doesn't exist. And then that's the problem. And he's been pretending like this big problem doesn't exist for a long time. And then now he's waking up and he's finding out that it's bad. You can still fix it. But imagine had you not had that wake up call now and what it could have looked like a year down the line, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line. I just showed you what that looked like on a credit card. Imagine if he'd have let that happen to his future.
I had a follower ask me, how did I rack up $24,000 worth of credit card debt? And I really had to think about it. Hey, my name is Nay, and I am on a debt payoff journey. Currently, I owe $24,058.46, and I'm looking to pay it off in 6 months. So if you like this type of content, please follow your girl and hold my ass accountable. Yeah, because nobody talks about how they be looking financially stable, but really they're drowning in debt. So yeah, I am on the road to healing my relationship with money, and these are some things that I learned about myself along the way. First things first, I was not just using credit cards to splurge. I was actually using them to survive, which is actually pretty depressing. Because yeah, when I really looked at what I spent that money on, it was daycare expenses, groceries, and to be honest, life be lifing more.
Eyebrows. Ma'am, I don't believe that because you're still in the debt and your eyebrows are clearly professionally done. Clearly.
More than the income comes in. And that was my reality. And the crazy thing is like, I don't think nobody talks about why people be having children in poverty. Like, babies are a blessing, but they're also a huge responsibility. And so if you don't have the money, please do yourself a favor and think about that twice. Okay, the other thing I noticed was that I used to justify everything. Like, girl, you work hard, you'll pay it off later, you can break it down. And literally, I justified everything for every major purchase until the purchases started adding up and the debt just started increasing. And I'm learning, girl, just budget. Just budget. Save for your trip. Save for the bag. You know, save for the concert tickets. Like, stop just putting things on the credit card because you can. Also, the delusion was real, y'all. Like, I literally was delusional. Like, I used to avoid checking my bank accounts. I used to like avoid, like, if I missed a payment, I would just like not take it seriously because I just had this mindset of abundance. And it was a crazy time. It was a crazy time. And I literally just started to become delusional about my money because it seemed like the money was circulating all the time. Like, I would get, big money in, and that's the hard part about entrepreneurship as well. Is like, some days you'll have really good days, really good weeks where you getting large income coming in, and then other days it's a drought. And so it kind of created this delusion for me that money was always going to be circulating and that I was not going to have a drought season instead of a drought week. Okay, and this is the last thing, motherhood. Okay, I don't think nobody talks about this enough, but for me, I had subconscious guilt because my mother was a high earner and she gave me some of the best experiences of my life. We traveled. I mean, I don't ever remember my mom telling me like I don't have it. She was fortunate enough to be a high earner as a single mom. And maybe there were times where she didn't have it, but I never knew about it. So I feel like subconsciously I am competing with that mind, with that energy. And it's so frustrating because, I have good children. My daughter, she does really well in school. She's helpful. She's sweet. And so when she asks me for things, which she's very modest, by the way, but when she does ask me, I feel obligated to give it to her, even though I don't have it. And it's so sad. And even like with my child, who is in daycare. I mean, I remember like daycare is way more expensive than when my 13-year-old was a baby. But now it's like, in order to find quality, good daycare, it's just not affordable. I mean, I've had people quote me like 4,000 a month, and these are supposed to be like good daycares. And so I found myself trying to compete with that and trying to, do that, knowing I just don't have the money to do it. And so that's how I got into this situation. But I am healing my relationship with money, and I think the best thing about this is that I'm really understanding the psychology behind why I feel like I need to spend this money. And so yeah, that's how.
Well, here's the thing, right? Because what's really catching my attention is, something I'm always curious about. She got her eyebrows done. She clearly got makeup on, right? Something I'm always curious about is how much this how much is makeup costing ladies every month? Because that's not really something that I really know personally, like how much makeup is. But it looks like I was able to find that out. So for makeup and skincare, it's usually about $40 to $100 every month for hair. And keep in mind, this is not extrapolated beyond women in the U.S. It's not like different ethnicities because I'm sure it does differ based off the ethnicity. But for hair, it's about 75 to 150 a month. nails 50 to 150 a month, and in total, on average, about 165 to $400 a month, which is about $2,000 to $5,000 a year. And funny enough, in 2026, roughly about 25% of beauty purchases were made using credit cards that carry about that interest rate that we talked about, which is about 25%. So not only is that a pretty hefty amount, like that could be your grocery budget every month. So not only is that a pretty hefty amount, but then when you factor in the fact that it's compounding because you're using it on credit cards, and a lot of people don't pay their credit cards off. So then you're counting the interest that you're having to pay off whatever was expensive at the time. And this is what I mean. It's not even really that necessary, but it's so important. It's such a priority, and it's destroying your financial future, ultimately.
Okay, y'all, come with me to pay off $27,529 worth of credit card debt. Let's go. So as you can see, I have $8,363.27 on my Southwest card and $19,166.83 on my Sapphire card. Don't come in here and start telling me that I have a spending problem. Unless you know where these numbers come from, I'd rather not. Let's pay the card. Does everything look okay? $19,166.83. I am not okay. Oh my gosh. We did it.
There you go.
We did it. If you want to know exactly how I paid off both of these cards, I will tell you in another video because that deserves an explanation for everybody who loves money transparency. This is not just cash that I had lying around by any means. So if you are interested or you want to know how I paid this off or what strategy I used to get it done, then comment strategy below. I'm super excited.
3 months of extreme financial discipline has got me. In January, this card was sitting at $7,464. It was actually after I'd already made a payment. Early February, some decent progress. We're in $6,899, but I knew that I could pay this off more. Almost at $5,000. Another payment a few days later. I did not take all the screenshots I should have, but now again in the 2000s, which for this card is insane. And today, which they reformatted the app, but now I'm at $1,452, and I made a small little micro payment of $4. I've been doing a mixture of obviously larger payments of $200, $300, $400, $500, and also smaller payments, not every day, but almost every day. I just kind of choose a random amount, and I'm just like, you know what, I can put another $5 towards this, another $6 towards this. This card will be paid off within the next month. And this is not the only card that I'm paying off. I made a very large deposit or payment for another card. I'm waiting for it to clear before I show you guys, but I've been able to pay off thousands within 3 months. It did take extreme discipline though. When I tell you I'm basically inside, I'm not spending any money. I am figuring out side hustles, other ways to make extra cash. I am lowering my spending habits. I'm eating the same things over and over again. I'm saying no to almost any occasion if it's going to cost more than $20. I'm inside. But it's worth it because again, back in January, this card was at over $7,000. And now look, almost paid off. Here's what 3 months.
So what we're ultimately reviewing is that all this stuff is really self-inflicted. And then in order to get over it, what we find is that it wasn't worth it to begin with. Look how she's got to live. Look how she's having to live just based off making impulsive decisions and seeing something she really wanted. But that I think when she really looks back on it, she didn't want it that bad, or she didn't want it this bad for what it's costing her now. But these are self-inflicted. We do it to ourselves instead of just having balance, just being moderate. And then it brings a whole world of pain, especially when we start really seeing not only what it costs us now, but what it can have the potential to cost us. And that's how they get you. And so I think we just need to come more inward and stop looking so much outward. And I think that would pretty much solve a lot of our problems right there. And then also, I think what we'll find is that you'll be given much more when you really don't need it that bad. Things will just come to you and it won't really affect you. But that was a good one. We'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button, then it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller content creator, we actually get more points per hype than other content creators. And then also Patreon link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.